I'm so excited to share with you these 3 steps plus a bonus of creating a statement of work or proposal for AI work that you want to do with a company. This is something you can use with a real client today and put this in their inbox so that they can start thinking about whether or not they're going to write you a check. I'll go through best practices and how to do this using AI for anything under the AI transformation umbrella. So excited. Let's get started. All right, so let's hit these 3 steps. First, do this discovery call, and that's a completely different video, but you'll need either your notes or the transcript from that call. You got to talk to the client before you know really what they want. So if you're doing this as a project for my class, please talk to a business owner or an executive in a business who can literally write you a check. Because if you do this for realsies instead of for pretendsies, you'll be grateful later and you'll be able to potentially collect a check by the end of this process. So take your notes or the transcription from that discovery call. Then write a prompt or paste a prompt in, and I'll show you in a few minutes how I created this one. Number 3, remember to include the data. And first, you'll want to include that PDF from the discovery call, or if there were a series of discovery calls and there was like one where everything kind of clicked together and everybody got on the same page and it was magical, include that transcript. Or if you have notes from it, then include those. Next, include if you're doing a small project, then you don't necessarily need the best practices of creating an SOW. Like I've created here, but you might want to include the best practices about the type of works that you're doing. So if you're doing an AI transformation, then include some best practices in the data that you're uploading on AI transformation. If you're doing marketing work or you're proposing to, write LinkedIn posts for a client, then you'll want to include best practices of writing LinkedIn posts in the data that goes into this. So next, and that'll make it just easier to provide a compelling SOW, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. The third, the template. So I use a template so that I know that I'm going to have the same sections in there every time. Sometimes I tweak the names of the sections, etc., but it's basically the same sort of document. And I'm going to share all these documents with you by giving a link to the folder with them. They're all in view only, so you can make a copy and download them as PDFs or whatever you want by clicking File, Download, PDF. File, download, PDF, and then you'll be able to have all this stuff if you're doing the exact project that I'm doing. But I'll show you how to make a custom example for whatever project you're working on. And the bonus item number 4 is to dump it into Gamma. Okay, and then I have linked an example SOW. So let's go to ChatGPT, and another tool that I would consider. I'm scrolling to the top of this long conversation here. Don't worry, we're not going to read this whole thing to you. A competitor is Grok 3. Just came out. I love Grok 3. It doesn't have as many features as ChatGPT, but it's, I think, a little faster and a little more broad than deep research. The reason why I used O3 Mini High here in ChatGPT because I wanted to test this deep research feature that was just released in my account yesterday. So the first thing you do when you are using deep research, you put in a prompt just like always, but then it asks you some questions. It says, can you please clarify before providing best practices? These are some things we want you to I want you to tell me, right? And so I spent some mental effort thinking about things that I wanted to include in this deliverable. And it says, got it. I'll put together 5 best practices, right? And it tells me what it's going to do. So I can make sure that I know what it's doing for the next 9 or so minutes. And literally it's several minutes that it takes to go and do the research and come back. Very nice. If you click on this, you can see in the side panel, this is what it went through, what it did. And then these are the resources that it used, with a nice little summary at the bottom saying, okay, it used 4 different articles, or 4 different references rather, to the things on the PMI site, 1 from blogs.microsoft, 3 from WeForum, and so on. So you've got some transparency there. As we scroll down, this is the deliverable I asked for. 5 best practices for developing a Gen AI transformation SOW in knowledge-driven industries. And one thing I will do for you is I will share this conversation. So all you need to do to share a conversation is click share, and it'll create a link there. So just to show you how this works, I'm going to go to the steps, and I'm going to show you the conversation in ChatGPT. And I spelled this wrong, so it's conversation. I love spell check there. So if you're wanting to share a link, you can just embed it as a hyperlink, and then it looks very nice for your reader. So you can go to this conversation now, and you can look at the whole conversation. I've also pieced it out into these documents to make them easier to get to each piece, because as you can see, it's very long. So these 5 best practices, I'm going to share you just the very tip of the iceberg here, just the bold highlights. Number 1, align the SO and a few statistics. Align the SOW with business strategy and executive vision. So this is something that whatever your SOW is proposing, whatever it is proposing, you want to be aligned with the business strategy, no matter what. So you need to know from your client. That's part of the discovery process. The sales process is asking, like, what is most important to you? Why are you interested in doing this AI project? So the statistic that caught my eye here is, note industry pressure or opportunities. A recent survey found 11% of companies are already losing deals to AI-enabled competitors. So this is extremely important. And I've been telling this to people for years now, that you will start to see that if you aren't doing the AI work, the AI transformation work in your organization, that you will start to see your competitors winning deals that you are losing money on the table because you're not taking advantage. So 11% of companies are already losing deals. Now, the interesting thing here is that not only is this past, information based on past surveys that happened weeks or months ago, but also how many of the respondents actually knew why they lost the deals. Probably it's a larger percent in reality. If they knew why they had lost the deal, this would probably be a larger reported number. But either way, you can see that things are moving, and things are moving fast. Next item, number 2. Best practice number 2, use a clear SOW structure covering scope, phases, and key deliverables. So that's like bare bones, like just simple, right? And I'm looking for those percentages. Number 3, enable cross-department collaboration and integrated solutions. This is what I was looking for. 4% of AI initiatives led solely by IT were successful. 61% of those jointly led by business and IT achieved success. So that is just a critical number. And I see a lot of companies, startups that are like, we have this AI product, or we have this AI solution. And they go to the company and they're like, hey, CIO or CTO, like, here's the solution. Yes, it will be so great. And maybe it is a great solution, but they didn't know how to implement. And so that's where that 4%, that's where it's like, that's almost none. 4%, that's so tiny. But 60% is much, much larger. So what did that do? It multiplied the success rate by like 15, a factor of 15. That's amazing. So what's another big thing? Change management. Include robust training and change management. Really, training is, I would say, a category inside of change management for workforce adoption. And I would add to this, in addition to workforce adoption, in the discovery process, it's highly likely that the executives that you're proposing, that you're pitching to, are not as familiar with AI as you are. Probably they don't know that it has been researched and 11% of companies are already losing contracts, losing deals to other companies that are more AI enabled than they are. Like, this is a big deal. And so they need to be educated about what is happening and how big of a deal this is. There's a statistic in here. 40% of knowledge workers report they have yet to receive any AI training from their employer. Now, have they had AI training? More than likely, they've been watching the YouTube videos, right? But have they had strategic training that tells them exactly how to align with their organization and how to use all the tools that are applicable to their job for the purpose of their work in the way that the organization wants them to work? So, not just making things faster, but making things better. Number 5, establish strong governance, data management, and metrics for success. I love the metrics for success. I always do this. So in addition, like, people want to know, like, is this going to open up risks to our company and how are we going to mitigate those risks? Data management, there's something called a, what is it called? Data supply pipeline, right? What is your data supply pipeline? And supply chain management of data supply chain management, right? It sometimes takes a while to obtain and clean that data in order to even start to use it. So this is, all of these are critical in this nice group in number 5. And you can see that these are very robust best practices. Then I said, based on this, a prompt to write an actual SOW. Write just a 100-word prompt, not the SOW. Write it for a diagnostic that explores for the best opportunities for a strategically competitive business perspective. So then it said, so this is it asking me a question because I was using the deep research feature. It said, would you like the prompt to include any specific frameworks or methodologies, e.g. Porter's 5 forces, SWOT analysis, AI maturity assessment? Also, should it emphasize any particular industries or be broadly applicable to knowledge-driven organizations? And I said, yes, include those. So like, yes, yes, and yes, right? Then make it for an insurance company with 15 employees. So I don't currently have a client like this now, but I said, let's just, for example, right? Because I think one of my students could easily help out a company such as this. So it then gave this prompt, which you've seen in my steps document that I've pasted in there. And then it continued to make the actual SOW. So it researched for 8 minutes, covering 16 sources, and created this SOW, which is, if you look at the little indicator there, it is very long. And I thought, how nice that is. It's very long. No one is going to read an SOW that is this long unless it is for a huge contract, which could be you. So I said, just for this example, because I don't think that you as a reader are just going to read through like 15 pages of proposal. So I said, rewrite in half the words, and then it didn't do it. So I said, rewrite the SOW that you wrote above, make it 1/3 as long. So it created this for XYZ insurance company with 15 employees. And this is a sizable, I think it turned out to be a couple of pages here in the example. So yep, just 2 pages. So feel free to read through that. I've included everything here from the steps document. And then the bonus is to dump it into Gamma. I've opened up Gamma here. And just to show an example that I've done in the past, I did not put this into here because it's not meant to be a video on Gamma. But just one tip, after you have your content and you dump it into Gamma, read through it and edit it, because Gamma kind of groups things and pinches them and summarizes in ways that you may not like. So looks beautiful for sure, but you need to make sure that this is aligned with your brand, with your capacities, and with what you are promising this client. So to finish with I clicked this little copy button, and that's how I got it into the document. And each of these documents then is prepared for you so that you can read through if you'd like or see them. Now, if you have the, I believe this is only in the paid version of Google, the professional version of Google Suite, Google Workspace, they call it. But this is at the end of my, so this is a template that I gave, and I'm eager to see how this works for you when you make a copy of it for your own purposes, if you happen to use my template. But here is the signatures portion, and in order to utilize this, you go to Tools, and then you go to, here it is, e-signature, and then these are all the things you would just, if you wanted to put another signature in, you just go ahead and click it there. And to send it, you say request e-signature, and you put their email in there. Make sure you name it what you want to call it, and it sends a PDF copy to that person. They sign it, they put their date, their name, and then they click submit, and it comes right back to you as a signed document. So then they don't have to, do the fudge-maru thing where they're like, creating a digital signature and pasting it in somewhere in like a PowerPoint document, something crazy like that. They don't have to print it out. A lot of people are working from their phone these days, right? And so they're moving through an airport on their phone. They can get the document signed, even if they don't have a printer and a laptop and everything else. So that is one way to make it very easy to sign documents. Thanks for watching. I've put all the links in the description below, and I've also included a link to my LinkedIn profile where you can catch up with me there. If you've liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.